Now, this episode of Barakamon took a very interesting turn. I mean, out of all the episodes of this series, it's been mainly pointed towards comedy. And with this episode of Barakamon, it wasn't about comedy. It was actually about slice of life, drama, issues, character development. That's exactly what this was. And I was shocked. I was actually shocked when I watched this episode that this was a very serious episode. Out of all the episodes, this episode was the most serious episode we have seen from Barakamon, because it has that character development for Honda, our main male character. So in this episode, Honda confronts the person that took first place from him in the tournament, in which it caused the entire events of this series even starting, for him going to the countryside. And so Honda in this episode pretty much states, specifically in this episode, is that he wants to do his own calligraphy. He wants to do it in his own style. He doesn't want to follow the fundamentals. He doesn't want to follow the books. He wants to branch off from what he used to do. He wants to do his own calligraphy. And that's exactly what he's been trying to do in the countryside. For instance, as I brought up last review, I said that the entire point of the episode was showcasing that Honda's starting to have fun, and he needs to have a way to express this fun in his writing, because clearly when he was writing, he wasn't having fun. But in this, you can see how the countryside is starting to change him. He's starting to have different type of writing, and at the exact same time, you can see it in his different writings that he's submitted. One thing I did notice, okay, is that person that won first place that came to meet Honda for the first time, one of his biggest fans, came to meet him and was like, "Sensei, you know, your writing's getting worse, you need to come back to Tokyo," and all that. And then Honda confronts him and says, "No, I need to do my own style," which really shows you character development. It actually shocked me getting to see character development like this, because usually an anime series that is like this, like, you know, this type of comedy, usually it doesn't have this type of development, and the development is so freaking good. I mean, it knows how to rotate the comedy and the seriousness all in one, because there was enough, you know, comedy in this episode that kept, you know, anyone that wants comedy entertained, and at the exact same time, they're actually telling a story. So, this series is really telling a progressive story with serious character development, at the same time keeping comedy, which is funny, because, like, right at the beginning, okay, Naru and her freaking little shells, the shellfish, she takes a piece of the freaking, like, little shell, the slug or whatever, and just freaking eats that, like, oh! And they had the freaking, like, slurp inside. You see, like, the freaking, like, saliva go off her face. I'm like, oh! Don't get me wrong. I love sushi, and I love eating oysters and clams and stuff like that. I eat them all the time. But to see, like, a living freaking, like, shellfish just popped out, it's wiggling, and when you see Naru just, like, eat, I'm like, ah. Just, yeah, it got to me. But, personally, the best part in the comedy in this episode for me was right at the end, after the ending song, when you see the freaking Fujoshi girl. She goes into the room, she opens the door, she sees one guy, two guys, three guys, four guys, and then there's like, she goes like, pounds her head up against the fucking wall. It's like, they're increasing. I'm like, oh my god. It is so good. I love that so much. She's definitely becoming one of my favorite female characters just because of the way she acts. So, for the most part, this episode was really good. It had that, you know, good execution of character development. It had consistent animation quality, and it managed to have some good comedy. Now, overall, though, if you were expecting a laugh, most likely this episode had the least amount of comedy out of all the episodes. This definitely had the least, but the comedy they did have was fucking funny. So, everybody, tell me your thoughts about this episode of Barakamon. I mean, did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? What was your favorite moments about it? Let me know your honest thoughts. I'm curious to see how y'all think about this. I mean, did you expect this series to have this type of serious episode? Let me know in the comments below about that also. I love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.